pedal when I'm getting to the back, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy, ayy. Let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do, or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys here. I cannot wait to talk about this topic today, about the realities of founding something and like getting those early wins in business. And, you know, my guest today, his company was part of my early wins in business when I started doing content and the podcast and everything. They were an early supporter of the show. So with that being said, I got my good friend Brad Perling, a bit freighter, back on the show today. Brad, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Thanks for having me, Chris. I'm excited to be here, ready to talk some freight, talk about founding something, founding Bit Freighter, our tournament, and what it takes. So, dude, and, listen to your story. Look, it's not just about founding something. It's about the journey and sticking with it. I mean, you being able to do what you're doing every single day for the last, 5 years, it's amazing to watch, and I'm excited to be here to talk with you.
Dude, it's an entire transformation as a person, Brad. Like, if I went back, the guy I was in 2020 when I first started is so far away from the guy who I am today. And even like 2 years ago, it's a total transformation to deal with everything that you experience in going out on your own when you don't have any money, you don't have any funding, and you're out there just trying to get revenue and get those early wins and to kind of like make yourself not feel completely clinically insane about banging your head against the wall every single day and not really getting anywhere. So, like, dude, what were some of those early days like at Bit Freighter when it was just you, that idea of like, I'm going out and I'm doing this?
Well, lucky enough, it wasn't just me. When I had the idea, I approached Brandon Joyce, my co-founder, who spent 2 years with me building some technology at Chariot. And I approached him and gave him the pitch and the idea about EDI and how difficult and how much of a pain in the ass it was for me, and how many people I thought that might be out there that were struggling the same struggles I did with EDI and spending the same amount of money that I did. And, I really felt like there was a market out there that needed somebody to come help them. And so lucky enough, I had, whether you're a solo entrepreneur or you have a co-founder, for me, I had somebody that I could really lean on. Mm-hmm. And, one of the reasons why I was so excited to work with Brandon was his work ethic and his values really matched mine. Yeah. When you're a founder, you have to have grit and work ethic like no other. You're working long days, long nights, and your family has to support you too. They have to be, it's not just you, it's also your family. They have to be bought into your vision and your dream of what you're trying to accomplish. And I think both of our families were bought in and aligned on what we were trying to do, and our values aligned too. So, but I will say, I think the hardest part in the early days is laying your head down at night on the pillow and then having bad self-talk about potentially will anybody want what you have? Mm-hmm. Will you be able to help anybody? Is it going to work? And when you're building software, it takes a year and a half, 2 years to really get that MVP out the door. So that first year and a half was a lot of nights of me laying my head down on the pillow thinking like, all right, it's going to work. I know that there are people out there we can help, but I think just having that long-term vision, because a lot of people like want to start something, and yeah, starting something is the hardest part, making that leap of faith, but sticking with it and knowing and sticking with your vision and your values, I think that's like the longevity and being a part of that journey. That's the hardest part.
I couldn't agree more with that, Brad. I've said this on the show a few times, but I'll say it again. Like, I didn't make any money for 15 months. Like I broke even after like a year. And I think the first time I made money, I made like $1,000 in a month. And that 15 months though, man, it was because like I started, I mean, you pretty much started in 2020 as well. I mean, dude, it was right at the beginning of COVID. So like it was a very odd time out there. And I can't tell you the amount of nights that I sat there and didn't know, like, is this going to work? Like, what if this does not take? What if, like, there's so much exterior stuff going on in the world right now. Is this going to go on even longer? How is that going to look? Am I completely full of shit? Like, if what I'm trying to build right now, is it nonsense out there? And then especially with like the media stuff that I started doing at that time with the podcast was, dude, podcasting was still like, people knew who Joe Rogan was, and that was it. And outside of that, starting one up inside of transportation, when I didn't have any name recognition, I was never associated with anybody to kind of like leverage. It was just me in my bedroom creating videos on my busted laptop. And that's why I keep those early videos out there, because people who fall on this show today, they see the expensive mic, the expensive camera, they see the setup, and it's not the way that this always was. And fighting that stuff that you're talking about, man, like that to me is why you have to completely just be committed that the old version of you probably will not make it to accomplish the goals that you want. Like, you have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah, totally. I think, part of one of my struggles was going from an in-office environment to, I mean, our company is 100% remote with now people in 10 states, Europe and Colombia. Like we're spread across many different states. And my struggle early days was trying to make that transition to working from home and working from home and never leaving my house, and trying to figure out how to incorporate working out and all the different things, work-life balance. And I ended up signing myself up for a personal trainer a couple of years in, because I realized that your body is part of, it's mind and body. Like those two things go together. And so founding a company, like, you have to be strong mentally, but you also have to be strong physically. And I mean, I see what you've done. Like, man, you've transformed yourself, like physically, mentally. And that's a big part of that journey, and having longevity, and making sure that you're like pouring into yourself as well.
It is I would say that. So like, I don't talk about a lot of this stuff on the show, like what you're describing there, because like, dude, I don't need any sympathy. Like, I had to overcome a lot of stuff through that, so it's like with me in like talking about the physical stuff, and like that overall total transformation, the mental side of things, like, dude, it is very real. And I'm, not to sound too granola, but I'm all mind body connection. All of that is just one cyclical event that goes on out there. And I knew that, like, dude, I had to improve my self-image, like first and foremost, because when I was looking in the mirror and I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing with your life here? You know what I mean? And it wasn't. And dude, I credit my relationship with Brent Orsuga a lot for this, because he turned me on to Andy Frisella and the Real AF podcast, and then with 75 Hard, and really taking that on, because like I've never been able to, like, it's not that I don't like working with trainers. I'm the type of person where it's like, I have to figure it out myself. Like, and I needed to know that, like, I didn't rely on anybody but me to kind of like push through that. And the same thing I think is applicable in business, Brad, like where I like, and this is what I talk about with like taking on funding now. And I'd love to get your take on this. If somebody would have given me a check for $10 million, hypothetically, when I first started, I would have blown it. I would have not allocated it properly. I would have blown it recklessly. Now, if I were to ever take on investment, I would actually have a strategy behind it because I've kind of been through the ringer of bootstrapping for long enough where I feel like $10 million today, I could allocate that properly and probably turn that into $100 million.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, you said a lot of things there. I think that you have to run right at the problem. Like you can't back away from it. And if it's working out, like you have to jump headfirst into making it happen and coming up with a plan, whether you do it yourself or you know that you can't do it yourself like me. And I had to go find somebody to help me with it. But I, talking about funding and talking about bootstrapping and how to allocate those funds and whether it's right for your company or not. I think one of the perks of not taking on funding is the fact that you have to work within your constraints and you have to always be picking the most important things. We talk about this every single day at Bitfreighter. What is the most important things? And if you're not taking on funding, you have to partner with your customers. And the most important things are the things that your customers care about. And I think that's really a big part of our success is we work within our constraints and are always prioritizing what is the most important thing that our customers care about. So I think if you're taking on funding, I mean, it's a beautiful thing because you can go hire a bunch of people and get a bunch of stuff done fast. But then there's always that day zero that you're thinking about. So, there's two different ways to go about it. And I can, it took us 5 years to get to profitability. We just continued to just reinvest money into the company and, partner with customers to make it happen. And this year is our first year where we're finally profitable and we have the ability to reinvest in the company. And a big part of that is the way we went about it in the early years, which was finding, one day I'll write a book about this, but our fractional owner program with our customers, finding customers that believed in the idea, in our product idea and having them partner with us. They don't own any equity in the company, but they own a lifetime license to our software. Yeah. And so that really worked for us in the early days because it allowed us to have the cash flow we needed to build out the MVP products to our software and also have long-term ambassadors of our product, which are our customers, which, that's the best way to grow a company is having people that really believe in an idea.
So let's talk about those early wins, right? Because like inside of the technology space, integrations are everything, like you need integrations, you need TMS partners out there because like as a broker, that's the brain of your entire operation is your TMS. And it's like with where things are, integrations are everything. So it's like if you're going to build a product, it has to be integrated in with a TMS. So what was that like for you early on going out there and trying to get those integrations?
It was really difficult. When you're supporting EDI integrations or API integrations with shippers, you have to have a product that people believe in because, you're the cornerstone of their connections to their shippers. You're going to be how they get their orders, how they get paid. And if you're a new software provider in the space, you really have no reputation other than the reputation that myself and Brandon have that we were selling. So we had to really find some early believers that believed in the idea of what we were trying to build and what we were trying to do and really trying to give something back to the logistics community and change how integrations are done. Actually, the first TMS that we approached, I flew out to meet them and I left with nothing in hand because they didn't want to partner with us. They already had a partner And it was really a really difficult loss, like that first year. And I kind of went back home and wasn't really sure what to do. And I was really lucky to have Dave McCoy on my side. He was at Keypoint DAT, and he really believed in what we were doing and kind of helping us from the inside out, and one of our first believers in the idea of what we were trying to make happen. And so, of course, he came over within the first 2 years to help us build our sales team and expand Bitfreighter. But really, one of the first TMSs that allowed us to integrate with them was Revenova. We built our first TMS API integration with Revenova, and that really helped us scale. They have enterprise clients that believed in what we were doing, and they helped us tremendously in those early years. And so what our ideals and our values, allowing our customers to have the freedom to build within our platform and scale within our platform, and same with their TMS. They give their customers a lot of freedom within Revenova, and the capabilities. Each TMS that we partner with, we have specific capabilities that make those integrations different. But the capabilities that we've built out with Revenova are very specific to Bitfreighter and Revenova. So yeah, they were our cornerstone API TMS that we first integrated with.
Yeah, dude, it like those early partnerships are literally everything. Just from like talking about those sleepless nights that we were describing earlier in the show, Brad, and then it's like you get a win like that, and then you're like, all right, we're making progress, right? Like it's a step in the right direction. And it is, man, all you need is one. Like once you get that first customer, like I'm sure you remember the day and time your first customer agreed to become a user of Bitfreighter. I remember that. And I'll never forget that stuff, right? Like I had mentioned in the beginning part of the show, like, dude, you guys were one of my first advertisers out there. And for me to get those early wins, and then because it's like, it's one of those things, man, because it like you put all of your energy into something. And then when people start buying into it, you're just like, I think for me, it was more like, oh God, I'm not clinically insane. Thank you, Lord. And then it's just like, then the momentum starts to go. And I think like, that's when a lot of the real progress is made out there, because you're like, all right, my core idea, my core product, my core service it's good. And there's traction. Now, how do we refine it? How do we tighten our ropes just a little bit more to get a little bit better out there? Because I'm sure after every time you've integrated with somebody, or every time a new customer's been onboarded, you've learned something, you've been able to apply it to your business and make those changes to make ultimately a better product.
Absolutely. You learn from your failures. I mean, that's the name of the game. And I want to just highlight, in the early days, we had no money either. And we wanted to be a partner of yours and sponsor the podcast because of your passion, what you were doing, your energy, everything that you represented. So we were excited to do that. And those were fun times. I mean, I remember our conversations and us spitballing about a bunch of different things. So that was, it was exciting.
Dude, it is, man. And I think like now with where things are, because it's like with, at least from my standpoint, I'm so much more about like systems on everything, right? Because it's just like, hey, what's our internal data telling us? How can we systemize this? How can we deploy that out there? Because it's like the more and more people that I meet who founded companies, who've been acquired, they're like, yeah, man, they wanted our product, but like they liked our systems 100 times more than our product, because that is where they could really get in and duplicate and replicate that. And I think like that's one of the biggest fallacies out there when you start a business is that like all of these established long-standing brands have it all figured out. And that couldn't be further from the truth, man. A lot of people, like they rely on their systems and their processes. And like, that's where the real value lies, because that's what you can put in front of a bunch of people that they can go in and rely and utilize to build their organizations.
Yeah. I think the beauty of a startup in founding a company is the fact that you can innovate and you can move fast and you can break things. And, bigger companies have more corporate red tape and they can't change. It's harder for them to move fast. And I think that's one of the things that we've done at Bitfreighter is like, we move very fast still. We're still innovating. We're still, trying new things and breaking things and being able to say yes to a lot of things. And a lot of companies can't do that, bigger companies, because they have more risk involved. So the other thing is like when you're founding a company, it's one thing to have an idea and start something, but it's the other thing is to surround yourself with the right people. And I think I really believe if I was to credit one thing to our success at Bitfreighter is we've created such an incredible team, and it is amazing to see the people that have said yes to helping us come build Bitfreighter. We call it the Bit Baby, raising the Bit Baby. And it's like anything, when you're raising something, in the beginning, it might just be you, and then finding your next believer, finding your next person that believes in what you're trying to do. And I'm so grateful for all the people at Bitfreighter that have chosen to come help us build it, because I mean, now, a lot of times when you're looking at an acquisition of a company or people looking at buying a company, they look at not just the product, but is it a real company? Is it just a one-man show, or is it a company that it has many different stakeholders and key employees that actually run the company? And I'm really proud of what we've built and the team that has come to help us build it, because there's no way that this would have happened with just me and Brandon. I mean, like, we've really leaned into our own little bubble of our community that have from within, our network that has come to really help us. A lot of guys and girls quit jobs that they've had 5, 10, 12 years, stable jobs, to come to a startup that there was a lot of risk involved. So really grateful for those people.
What's been one of those things about building a team, Brad, especially remote in that environment out there where you're talking about? Because, a lot of companies now are like everybody back into the office. And then have you guys ever entertained something like that? Like, you're out in Tennessee, is it getting a space in Nashville, or is it like, no, man, we're like, why change anything? Our team is productive and getting there done. Like, kind of what's your philosophy on that?
Yeah, I mean, we did just get some collaborative space in Nashville. It's like a little 5-person office that we can go meet up at. But outside of that, we're 100% remote. I think there's so many advantages to being remote, but you have to find the right people. I mean, ultimately, it's about being an adult and trusting. There's a lot of trust involved that comes with a 100% remote company.
Yeah.
And a lot of autonomy, and it goes back to doing the right thing. And, I think we have done a really good job of finding the right people that really care about doing the right thing for our clients and for Bitfreighter. It's easy to kind of get caught up in being 100% remote, but also being 100% remote takes what I think the number one word that comes up in my head is being intentional about having meetings, about progress, and also about the vision of the company. Like, all of those things come together in 100% remote environment. So, I mean, yeah, it also depends on the role. Like, I would say, for instance, like salespeople, they thrive in probably more of a hybrid environment, being able to see people, being around other salespeople, but also like software engineers, they want their space. They want to be able to have the time and space to work on the things they're working on. So, we have the beauty of having both. But yeah, we're still like really leaning into 100% remote. It allows us to hire the best people where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Now, dude, I think that it's a delicate thing, like you're talking about. Like it has to be the right people out there, because with just as many great people who are out there that just want to work hard and do the right thing, there's equally just as many opportunistics out there who just are looking to collect a salary and hopefully do just enough to kind of fly under the radar. And it's a tough thing, man. But that's the beauty of when you're out there calling your own shots, man. That's your decision to make. That's your leadership team's decision to make. And if it's working, you got to run with that, man. And Scott had a question here, if you guys have an email reader for your quoting yet.
Yeah, we've partnered with Levity and Vuma to do AI. That we have APIs with them, so those emails come in through our live quote platform, and it can automate those quotes back out to Vuma or Levity. We've chosen not to do that because there are best in class solutions for AI email reading. But our rules engine within the live quote platform allows you to handle all of those shipper profiles within the Bitfreighter platform.
I love it, man. So, dude, you guys had, I wanted to bring this up, and I know you wanted to probably touch on this as well, but you guys had your big charity event, and, congratulations, man. I mean, you guys raised almost $60K out there. Like that's an insane amount of money, but I'm so happy for you. Cause like, dude, I remember when all of this kind of went down originally, and like why you guys are doing this, and to see that happen and like that many people get behind it, man, that's just got to be amazing.
Dude, I just, it's hard to believe. It's also like, there was a lot of tears. There's a lot of laughter, a lot of celebration. It was such an amazing 24 hours. So many people showed up. I can't tell you, like, it was one of the coolest events I've ever been a part of, because, I mean, it was the logistics community. It was like 17 years of me being part of a community, and so many people from my past, so many of our customers, so many sponsors, so many of our vendors and TMS partners all said yes. I mean, you don't get to 58,000 with a lot of people involved, a lot of supporters. So, yeah, we had the idea 3 years ago. We wrote a $5,000 check 3 years ago, and to have this happen, to be able to write almost a $60,000 check to ALS, I know my mother-in-law would be really proud.
Dude, 100%, Brad. Like that is such a phenomenal cause out there, and it obviously it means a lot more when it touches as close to home as it did, and it does for you and your family in this situation. And to be able to lead that charge out there and really, because I mean, obviously there's no stopping now, right? It's now of how much more can we do to get this out there in front of more and more people. And that's just like the founders mentality, man, where it's like, hey, this is awesome. I could only imagine what's already starting to go through your head of like, what's next for all of this? How do we just push this even just a little bit further to help bring more and more awareness and help more and more individuals with this?
Every year trying to make it just a little bit better, everybody's like, how are you going to top this year? So we've already been sitting down thinking about all the things that we can do to make it even better, bring in some more speakers, and just it's been an incredible thing to witness and grow. And yeah, I mean, I give all the credit to everybody that showed up, and Hannah and her team, Hannah and Travis and Dave, that really spent 4 or 5 months planning this. We brought on a golf coordinator, Travis, that was his full-time job for 3.5 months. So,
oh, wow. I
mean, it was incredible to see it happen. Yeah, we're already next year. If you're looking at coming, it's August 24th, 2026. Yeah, we already have the date at Old Hickory, so it's going to be exciting.
Dude, I love it. Brad, thank you so much for your time, as always, man. It's always a pleasure having you back on. I wish, it's like I say this before every single show, like, transportation professionals for transportation professionals. And it's like, man, I wish I could get you and others just to come on so much more often. But it's like, that's why I love having you guys come on, though, because your time is so precious and you guys are out there building real companies in the industry to make the industry better. So thank you so much for your time. How does anybody reach out to you guys? Are you guys keeping the donation link open throughout the year? How can people donate more into your guys' cause? How do they get in touch with you for that?
Yeah, we don't have the donation link open. They can always go to ALS association.org and donate directly to them. That's where the money went directly to ALS. If you're interested in Bitfreighter, you can get in touch with us at sales@bitfreighter.com or go to our website, check it out, schedule a calendar link. And man, really appreciate you having me on here. It's always great to catch up. Hopefully I can make it out to Phoenix soon. We can go catch up, go climb Camelback Mountain together.
Dude, let's do it. Name the time, man. I'll be ready to go do that, Brad. Brad, thank you so much. If you guys can't find Brad or Bitfreighter out there, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in direct contact with them over there. But that's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling really ambitious after this one, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.